Okay, let's come into mountain pose, feet together, hands equal by our sides. We're gonna ground ourselves here. Make sure your knees are over your ankles, hips are over your knees. Lightly tuck your tailbone in, pull your shoulders back and down. Slightly tuck that chin in. You want to feel like there's a string being pulled to the top of your head. So stand up really tall. You can rock your weight forward and back, left and right. You want to evenly distribute the weight in the feet. Okay, so standing up really tall, coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. Stand up tall. We're going to do some Kundalini yoga tonight. So we're going to tune in, rub our hands together, activating the chakras in your hands. Bring your hands into your chest. We're going to inhale, eyes closed down. Om Namo Inhale. Look up and in at the point between the brow. Exhale. Come back to mountain pose, hands by the sides. Stand up really tall. And you want to distribute the weight evenly in your feet, rock forward and back, left and right. So we're grounding ourselves. Okay, standing in mountain pose. This may seem like a simple posture, but this is really important because we're always on our phone and our computers all day long. We're like this. So really feel the expansion across your chest. Really ground yourself. We're always wearing shoes, so you really want to press down in your feet, activate the feet, press down on the balls of the feet, press down on the heels of the feet. You can lift your toes a little bit to activate your feet that way. Now that we centered ourselves, let's do some forward folds. So inhale, bring your hands to your heart, reach up really tall. Exhale, come forward, bending at the hips. And then we're just warming up our spine, gently roll to the top. Let's do that again. We'll do that 10 times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. You can come up onto your toes, exhale. So keep going. We're on 6. We're going to do 10 more. Oh no, 4 more. It's a total of 10. And I'm trying to figure out how to take my name off the thing. So we'll worry about that later. Keep going. If you've done 10, just keep going because I think I found it. We're warming up our spine. Okay, I'll worry about that later. Okay. And then from here, let's do some hip rolls. So feet hip width apart, hands on your hips. We're gonna come forward and we'll do 3 to the left. So over to the left, to the back, to the right, down. Just take your time. So we're warming up the spine. And then when you come back to the center, we'll switch 3 to the right, coming over to the right, to the back, the left, down. And then slowly come back to the top. Feet together, come back to a mountain pose, Tadasana, feet together, pull your pants up. Come back to mountain pose, roll your shoulders back and down. This is the most important part. Just really feel the expansion across your chest. And then tuck that chin in too. That's really important. That's aligning your spine. A lot of people who have like shoulder pain back here, that can be because your head is going forward like this and it's like making your spine hit a nerve. So when you align your spine, you bring your chin back. That not only aligns our spine, it's also our chin lock or Gerlunderbund. So putting our chin where it's supposed to be, so that way the energy can flow up the spine. Okay, let's do some sun salutations. So we're going to come to the front of our mat. And we're going to bring our hands to our heart. And we're going to protect the low back and lift through the rib cage as we come into our back bend. So inhale, back, exhale, come forward. Just take a couple breaths here. Coming into our forward fold. And then we'll start with the right foot back into a high lunge. Make sure the knee is lined up with the ankle. And bring the left foot back into plank. So feet together, keep your butt low. Zip your navel up into your spine. Make sure your shoulders stay over your wrists. And keep your elbows by your sides. Come into chaturanga, come halfway down, come all the way down, place the tops of the feet on the floor. And then we're gonna inhale, come up into upward dog, elbows by your sides, roll your shoulders back and down. Exhale, come down. So let's come into Sphinx here, because that feels really good. So palms are on the mat. And then we're gonna inhale, roll the shoulders back and down, gently look up. So this is also really important because we're always hovering over our phones and our computers. So really feeling the expansion across your chest. If you haven't activated your breathing yet, start to take those yogic breaths. Inhale, push the belly out. Exhale, push the belly in.
See if you can roll the shoulder blades back and down a little bit more. Feel the expansion across the chest a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly come down. Let's push back into downward facing dog. So hands hip width apart, feet hip width apart. Take some deep breaths here. Start to warm up your legs. Pedal your feet left and right. Push back. So we're going to drive our weight into our heels. And we're actually lengthening our spine here. And then look forward, bring the right foot forward, coming into our high lunge. And then we're going to come into a twist here. So we're going to twist to the right, bring the right arm up. Look up towards that right hand. Then bring the right arm down, look back down towards the mat. And then bring the left foot up and then slowly roll to the top. Just take your time. Your head's going to come up last. And then come back to mountain pose, feet together. Roll your shoulders back and down. Align your spine, your chin in. Okay, we're going to do that on the other side. So bring your hands to your heart. We're lifting through the rib cage when we do our back bend, so that way we protect our low back. So inhale, and then exhale, lift back. Take a breath here, inhale. Really stretch and reach, exhale. One more, inhale. And then exhale, come forward, bending at the hips. And then we're going to bring the left foot back this time. Coming into our high lunge. Put your knees over your ankle. And then bring the right foot back into plank. Keep your butt low, zip your navel up into your spine. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. If you have to rock your weight forward a little bit, take some weight out of the wrist, you can do that. Rock the weight into the front of your palms. And then keep your elbows by your sides, chaturanga, come halfway down. Come all the way down. And then let's come into our upward facing dog. So elbows stay by your sides. Inhale. Come up, exhale. Come down. We're going to come into Sphinx again. Elbows by your sides. Palms are on the mat. And then inhale, gently look up. Bring your shoulder blades back and down. Exhale. This time we're going to breathe into our heart chakra. Just activating that heart chakra. It's associated with unconditional love for ourselves and for others. Inhale. Exhale. And gently come down, push back into downward facing dog. So see if you can get your heels a little bit closer to the mat this time. They don't have to touch, you just want to feel the stretch here. Pedal your feet left and right. Maybe you need to walk your feet and your hands closer together. See how that feels. And then look forward. Left foot comes forward into our high lunge. And then we're going to twist on the left. So inhale, bring that left arm up, look up towards that left hand, take some deep breaths here. And then bring the left arm down, bring that right foot forward, and then slowly, even slower this time, slowly come to the top. Your head's gonna come up last, coming up one vertebra at a time. Come back to mountain pose. Okay, so let's do some neck rolls. So you're gonna bring your chin to your chest, and then we're gonna come over to the left 3 times, just take your time. And then when you're finished, go back to the center. Let's do that on the other side. So bring your chin to your chest. Switch sides. And when you're finished, come back to mountain pose. Now let's come into eagle pose, Garudasana. We're gonna bring our right arm up. Actually, let's do some shoulder rolls first. So we'll do 5 to the back. And let's do 5 to the front. Okay, and then come back to mountain pose. Okay, now we're gonna do eagle pose. So right arm comes up and then the left arm comes under, and we'll find that point in front of us to help us balance. And this is a balancing pose. So our right foot goes over. Take some deep breaths here. Raising our eye gaze, our drishti,
This helps us balance. And then release that, shake that out if you need to. Let's do that on the other side. So bring the left arm up, the right arm comes under, and then the left foot comes over. Now let's release that, shake that out if you need to. Okay, and then from here, let's come into triangle pose. So we're gonna bring the right foot forward, the left foot comes out, our heels are gonna be lined up this time. And then we're gonna bring our arms to a T. We're going to inhale, reach over to the right, exhale, and come down. So we're staying here, calf, ankle, or the mat. Look up towards that left hand. Make sure your arms are stacked on top of each other. And you can keep looking up or you can look down at the mat, whichever you prefer. Just make sure you're breathing, that's all that matters. And then bend that right knee, bring that left arm down, bring the left foot forward, shake that out if you need to. Okay, let's do that on the other side. Left foot comes forward, the right foot comes back. Our heels are lined up and our right foot is straight, it's not at an angle. Bring our arms to a T, and then we're gonna inhale, reach over to the left, exhale, come down to the calf, the ankle, or the mat. Look up, make sure your arms are stacked on top of each other. You can keep looking up at your hand, or you can look down at the mat. Anything feels tight, just send your breath to those tight spaces. And bend that left knee, bring the right arm down, come back to mountain pose, shake that out if you need to. Okay, let's come into ragdoll. So feet hip width apart. And then we're gonna inhale, reach up really tall, come up onto your toes. Exhale, come forward, bending at the hips and grab the elbows this time. You can bend your knees here. Just let your head fall forward, let your neck go, let your jaw go. You take some deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Pedal your feet left and right if that feels good. Shake your head yes and no, just gently back and forth, left and right.
Make sure you're really deepening your breath here. Inhale, push your belly out. Exhale, push your belly in. And then from here, release your hands. We're gonna walk back onto all fours. Come into child's pose. Continue to deepen your breath here. Okay, and then let's come onto all fours. And we're gonna come into cat-cow. We're gonna do our 3 minutes of cat-cow. So inhale, look up. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale. Exhale. So keep going. Inhale. While you guys are doing cat-cow, I'm going to talk to you about Samskaras. So a while ago, we talked about Samskaras, and we talked about them using yoga to burn up these Samskaras, these bad habits. Well, these Samskaras have come up again, and I learned some more about them. So they're not only just bad habits, they're more like long-standing, reoccurring, painful patterns. So they're like these, they're described as seeds in Hinduism. These seeds are like, they're like lodged in our psyche. And when something happens in our life, these seeds, they bloom, and it's not always like a good thing. This is not good, this is bad. So for example, my teacher would always talk about Bob. So Bob is just this general character that can literally be your mom, your brother, your coworker. It's always Bob. It's always the same person. We're just in this infinite reality where we are projecting ourselves into our reality, or it's the same person coming up, the same relationship. Okay, so for example, Bob cancels brunch on you, and you freak out and have this huge emotional expression happen, and it was just a cancellation about brunch. And so what happened is that one of these seeds has bloomed. One of these long-standing, reoccurring, painful patterns has been expressed. So that's what these samskaras are. These are like emotions. They are bad habits. They're karma, their feelings, their traumas, their behaviors. So something in your life triggered this samskara to bloom. And so these are things that can be from this lifetime, from past lifetimes, and it's can be happen from, you know, Bob just canceling you on brunch. And so the great thing about yoga is that yoga can burn up these bad habits, but it can also teach us ways on how to deal with these long-standing, reoccurring, painful patterns, these samskaras. You know, we can all think of that, like, okay, so Bob cancels brunch on you, but all of a sudden you just feel abandoned. Like, that has nothing to do with Bob. Bob just, you know, had other plans. He couldn't go to lunch. Okay, like, it wasn't that big of a deal, but you had this big freak out. And so that's how you kind of know, is when you have these blowouts. You're like, okay, one of these seeds has now bloomed. And so that's why yoga is so great, because we do things like the addiction meditation that can help with like addiction patterns and different addictive feelings that we're addicted to. And so it also helps us with mindfulness. And so that's like at the end of the class when we do the meditations or we do the shavasana and we sit here and we go through our body, we're being mindful of the present moment and what's going on in our body. And that mindfulness helps us recognize, hey, Bob just canceled brunch on me. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, something else is going on. This has nothing to do with Bob. And so awareness is the first step in recognizing these samskaras, and our awareness is the second step, or being mindful. Okay, you have to be mindful of what's happening. You have to be aware of what's happening, because if you don't even know what's happening, then you don't even know, like, oh, I just had one of these samskaric seeds bloom. And so that's where the awareness comes in. We become aware of our emotions, and we know that just like in the meditations, when we become aware that these thoughts, they come and go. And so like when we're doing the meditation, we have a thought, well, here comes the thought, but we're actually supposed to be focusing on our breath. And we know that we're going to come back to our breath, and then that's going to go away. And here comes the thought again. But these things, they come and go. And so that's where the yoga really comes in. And that's where, we talked about, we can burn up these bad habits, these samskaras with the yoga. And so that's what the yoga helps us recognize, these samskaras, and we can not always get rid of them per se, but then they can just be more like in the background, and we can recognize like, oh, here comes that really triggering emotion when people cancel on me on brunch. It has nothing to do with Bob. It has this deeper seated feeling of feeling abandoned, but I can recognize like, oh, there's that feeling again. It's just like that breath. It's going to come and go. The thought is going to come and go. And let me come back to the present moment and just reschedule my lunch with Bob. Okay, so we're coming into cat-cow. And so inhale, look up. Exhale, chin to chest. And then push back into child's pose. Again, let's come onto all fours. And then let's come into threading the needles. Bring our right arm through. We're stretching the shoulder. And then come onto all fours. Let's do that on the other side. Bring the left arm through. And let's come onto all fours again. Let's come into a seated position. Okay, let's do our addiction meditation. So this meditation is good for addictive thoughts, addictive patterns, whatever you're addicted to, social media, cigarettes, negative emotions, talking bad about yourself, whatever, put your thumbs on your temples, and then our eyes closed down. We're gently saying sa, ta, na, ma. We're gently clenching our back molars. We're mentally saying sa, ta, na, ma. We're looking up at that third eye point. Fingers are really high up on the pads of our palms. Inhale. Look up at that third eye, the point between the brow, and exhale. Okay, so from here, let's come on to our backs, our feet on the mat. Let's come up on our backs and let's come into bridge pose. So hands stay by your legs, and then we're gonna bring our heels as close to your butt as we can, and then inhale, lift up. So take some deep breaths here. And then come down one vertebra at a time. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock left and right. And then come back to the middle, the right ankle 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left. Left ankle 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left. And then bring your feet up, flex your feet, and then grab behind your legs and just bring them in towards your chest. And then bring your knees in again, and let's do bridge pose. One more time, feet come to the mat. And then bring your feet as close to your butt as you can. Inhale, lift up. And you can stay here or you can clasp your hands together to get up a little higher. Lift up a little bit higher this time. And then come down one vertebra at a time. Bring your knees into your chest. Let's do that again. Grab behind your legs, flex your feet, bring your knees in towards your chest. So you feel a stretch all down the back of the legs. And then bring your knees into your chest. And then rock and roll. Give your spine a good massage. Make sure you're breathing. And then rock and roll into a seated position. And we're going to come into fists of anger. Okay, let's burn off Bob rescheduling our brunch. Damn it. Okay, our fingers are under our pinkies. I'd say Bob, and I think of Bob from Dragon Rising now. I gotta pick a new name, but that's what my teacher would say. Bob. Bob is your brother. Bob is, whoever. It's just like this placeholder name. It's like the same person that you project onto other people, because you get in these relationships and all of a sudden, like, your coworker is your mom, or like your sister is somebody else that and you're projecting these relationships onto those people. So it's just Bob. It's the same person. You're talking to someone else completely, but there we go. Your boyfriend's Bob again. You're just projecting these things onto other people. Okay, so thumbs are under your pinkies, and we're thinking about how Bob rescheduled our brunch and it's making us irritated and annoyed and angry. We're thinking about what makes us mad, and we're doing O mouth breath up and over our head. Use your anger to fuel the movement. Interlace the fingers, inhale. Hold the breath. Imagine white light all around you. Exhale. Inhale. Hold the breath. Project the white light above you, below you, all around you. Exhale. Inhale. Project. Project, stretch, really stretch up, and exhale. Stretch the shoulders, the neck and the jaw. Okay, we're gonna take the last couple of minutes to do some Sarabandendis. So we are in downward dog and our feet stay under. So our feet don't go like this, our feet are staying under. We're in downward dog, and then we're going down to plank. You can stay on your knees like this, or you can go into plank, and then we're inhaling up and exhaling back into triangle, they call it, downward dog, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Stay here for breaths to get the stretch, and then come down. Exhale, inhale, push back, exhale. You can come on your knees. You don't have to do it really fast. Make sure you keep your elbows by your sides. Honestly, just make sure you're breathing. That's all that matters. We'll do a couple more. We'll meet in downward dog. Inhale, exhale, come into child's pose, feet together. And then let's come onto all fours. Let's come into Shavasana. We made it. And let's come onto our backs. So take up as much space on your mat here as you'd like. Palms face up. Let your feet fall to each side. Place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And then go ahead and take 5 yogic breaths on your own. When you're done, you can just relax your hands if you want to, or you can keep one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Just focus on your breath, following the breath through the nostrils, down into the belly, and back up. You notice your mind just started to wander. Just take note. Just say to yourself, thinking, and then come back to the breath. You notice that your mind has gone off with thought again. Just take note, thinking, and then gently come back to your breath, just without any judgments or frustration. Just come back to your breath.
Projects to your mind, just caught up in thought. Just gently come back to your breath. Pull the breath down your nostrils, all the way down into your belly as you inhale, and back up as you exhale. Gently start to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing some life back into your limbs. Roll your arm up over your head and roll over onto your side. And then come up into a seated position. Eyes closed, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale. Sat. Nam. Sat. Nam. Sat. Nam. Just remember, we cannot control our mind, but we can always control our breath. Anam.